Paul, you make the switch to the Lowry line on the McDavid unit in the second period. What did you see after that happened?
It was two things led to that. One was Adam's line and the way that we're playing, and the other is, after 6 and 9, I got a lot of miles on that Scheifele line, and you're looking to, sometimes the rotation alone will shut some minutes down, but Adam's line has been really strong. His play especially, physical, but on pucks, he's covering the ice really, really well. So, we're chasing the game at that point, but with 40 minutes, you're not, in a panic about it. Just looking to spring some things loose. That's all.
And we'll go next to Ken Wiebe from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Ken.
Thanks, sir. Paul, what's impressed you most about the start Andrew Copp is having for your group?
That he's able to do the things that he's done from a point of view, but hasn't changed his identity, so that he's not cheating the game to do it. He's not, he's true to his own game. He's a very, very strong defensive player that takes great pride in the penalty kill. So he's a little wounded tonight when they're scoring, but he's been honest about the way he's generated his offense. And there's two of them. I mean, Paul Stastny's such a fantastic two-way center. It's actually a very strong defensive line, but there's hands there now. He's developed those, and Nikolai's just that kind of dynamic piece to the line that lets those two guys do their work. And he's one of the rare players that I've seen that has the ability to seemingly develop his offensive game from a defensive starting point. There's not a lot of guys that come in that are defenders that develop an offensive game. We seem to spend most of our time taking offensive guys and trying to get them to defend a little bit. But he's developing an offensive game that makes him a fantastic two-way player.
And we'll go next to Scott Billick from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, Paul. Nick says he's allowed to, playing with Paul and Andrew's allowed him to just use his speed. Andrew says, those guys just all read off each other well. From a coaching perspective, and you're sitting at ice level watching it, what are you seeing from that line that makes them so cohesive and work so well?
They start together. So both Paul and Andrew came into this league with a really strong defensive concept. So they're in the right spots in the defensive zone. They don't stretch the game out until they need to, right? And Nikolai, a big part of what's going on with him is he skates like a shooter now. So he's not looking to defer to the center iceman or to defer to his scoring wingers. He's looking to be the shooter. So he'll move to holes to shoot the puck. They start together, and then Nikolai's speed becomes a real weapon for them. So there's always a 10-foot pass that's available, and they'll make that play. They don't try to put a lot of pucks rink wide unless Nikolai's got speed. So really good puck support, and there's a simplicity to their game that allows them to execute those plays.
We'll go next to Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Sean.
Paul, you said in the past that when it comes to defending leads, sometimes the biggest sin is not getting that next goal to put it out of reach rather than allowing the tying goal. I want to know what your team, or what you feel your team has done well this year in not just coming back in games, but making sure that you're not letting the games get out of hand and giving yourself an opportunity to fight your way back into those games.
Well, part of it, so we're still untested in a couple of areas, and we've had the one game against Ottawa where we had the 4-0 lead going into the second period, but we haven't carried big leads into the third period. So we're still not sure, what that's going to look like. But what you don't want to is, when you have a bigger lead, is to get casual with it and to think the game's over. So there's always been a lot of intensity around the score of the clock because it's been a close enough game. It's not superstition, but we get that great chance to the net that we don't score on with Scheif's line, and you're looking at the clock thinking there's too much on the clock for that not to have gone in. I think we're at 5:55 on our last timeout. That's a lot of minutes with those two elite players. So you play the Edmonton Oilers and you're taking a lead late, you want as much cushion as you can possibly get. You know, you won't be happy about the goal that we gave up, but we had earned the cushion.
And final question to Brian Munns from TSN 1290. Go ahead, Munnsy.
Paul, can you take us on the bench, what that's like in that 3.5 minute span when the third period gets underway and all of a sudden Ehlers, Stasny, and Lowry are able to give you the advantage third period with everything that your club's gone through here to start the year?
Yeah. So, you know, going into the third period, there is a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel going on. When you go 6 and 9, you're beat up and you're sore. And they've played well enough that they feel that they could earn a win, right? They haven't gone on a run of bad games and can't score. These guys think they can score goals. So there's a little bit of an enthusiasm. Let's just push as hard as we can. And when the first one goes, now you're revisiting something that's happened on your bench a bunch of times here, and it feels good. So that they're, you know, they feel like they've got their teeth into them now, that this is where we're good. So there's a real positive vibe on that bench. When the first one goes in, the guys are feeling pretty strongly about the way the rest of the period's going to go.